Well, welcome back. It is episode 5. It is High Five, Low Expectations. We got another fun-filled episode here. I'm Uncle Joey. With me, as always, is my good friend,
Uncle Chris.
Unky Chris. We've got another great week for you. We'll get into our weekly update. We got a new What's Annoying. We've got one current event, or we got a few current events to cover. We're going to talk a little bit about Easter candy and what's annoying us with that. A little bit of a deep thought dive here, not getting too much into it right now. We'll share more about that a little bit later. Just kind of one of those heartfelt kind of make you think kind of questions or thoughts. Got a new top 5 for the week, and then, of course, we'll close it out with a dad joke or 2 or 4 or however many we get in. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, so, Chris, how's your past week go? Had some exciting stuff happen.
Yeah, it was a big week in this household. High school hockey officially began. Had our first high school hockey game. Even though the boys are in 8th grade, they get to play on the spring team for the high school they're going to play for in the fall next year. So it's kind of like a introductory into high school hockey world, which I've learned is much different than what we've seen before.
True.
Got a little bit of taste of it last summer when we played on a little AA travel team.
Mm-hmm.
But this was different because you have kids from 14 up to 18.
Yeah.
And you think, 4 years isn't that big of a deal. What really got me nostalgic and all in the dad feels, though, was we were the first game after the mites played, which is your 6, 7, 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that kid's 8. And, we were just in that 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember coming off the ice, seeing those big stinky boys like, we're so far from that. We don't know. That's not even a thought. And now we're the big stinky kids getting ready to go on the ice after the little kids. Like, you don't realize when the last time you tied your kid's skates was now. Like, there was the last time we've done that.
That's true.
We don't, I went in the locker room once about 6 months ago to drop off a Gatorade or something. I was like, it's gross in here.
Oh, it smells so bad.
It smells terrible.
They're awful.
All the kids look at you like you're an alien.
Yeah, why are you in here?
What do you want, old man? And so it was different. And a parent was telling me, you thought that 4 years from then to now goes fast. Just wait for these 4 years of high school. It's just going to be a blink. And I believe it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to just soak it in and enjoy it. But it was fun. Anakin didn't start in goal this time, which is fine. There's a senior starting at goalie, so he's kind of learning the ropes of that position at that level.
Yeah.
Kind of getting phased in. Jonah scored a goal. Scored the first goal of the game. First goal of his
way to go, Joe.
High school career. So that was a big weight off his shoulders. I know he was holding the stick a little tighter, a little nervous. He never admits to being nervous, but I could tell. I could see it in his body language. He was a little nervous out there, just not familiar with the team and the style yet, but proud of him getting that goal and seeing all his hard work over those years pay off. So it was fun. It's a fast game. It's a fun game. The rivalry intensifies up a little bit. And we're excited next week when we get to play your high school for your first game. So it's going to be a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, Bryson had a bye week for the first week, which is strange, but it's kind of like a couple years ago when the Lightning had that big stretch where they played a couple games and there was nothing for a few weeks. But yeah, so starting off with a bye week. Really, nothing going on as far as hockey related, although he did have his first Chiefs practice, so regular rec practice yesterday, and that went pretty good, And then I had some family in town, so they were here for last weekend's tournament, so they caught a couple of games there, and then we had a nice big family game night get together Friday night, so that was kind of our Easter. And then I had a buddy of mine, my childhood buddy from the first grade, Ben Barnes was in town with his wife, Rachel, and their 2 little kids, and got to catch up with him a little bit and kind of see how things are going. And it was good. It was just, good week. Very simple, very easy, nothing crazy, nothing too stressful. Bryson's flag football team has made it into the playoffs now for his middle school. So they'll start that this coming week. So I'll be looking forward, something to look forward to. It's basically single elimination. You win, you move on, you lose, you go home. So they'll have their first game Tuesday night, and we'll see how that goes. And good luck to the Patriots for that game.
Nice.
Yeah. And then a little update on Sonia for the senior assassin, and maybe I jinxed her, I don't know. But it was, we talked about it last weekend, and the very next day she goes out with one of her friends on her team, and they both get eliminated. Like they were in her Jeep, and Sonya couldn't get her goggles on fast enough apparently, and they both got shot up, with the water guns by the two kids from school. And Sonya's trying to appeal it because she's like, "No, I had my headphones on, or not her headphones, but her goggles on." And I guess they looked at it and said, "Nope, you're still dead. You're out of the game." So she got knocked out. Maybe a blessing in disguise, right? Who knows? But yeah, so she got knocked out, and move on, right?
Maybe we should start that around the hockey rink, just a bunch of hockey parents shooting each other with water guns.
That would be hysterical.
But not tell them what's going on. Just randomly
start shooting them. No. Who's doing that?
What are you doing?
Don't worry about it.
Just
you play along. Now you got to shoot somebody else. Be like, like the Secret Santa. Be like, all right, now you got to go get somebody else, but don't tell them.
Wasn't that a stupid movie back in the day? Tag.
The what?
Tag.
Oh, I don't know if I actually fully saw it, but like the adults, like
the adults, and they have they've been playing tag since they were like in the 4th grade. They're like grown ass adults. And
Isn't John Hamm in that movie?
Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I've seen bits and pieces of that one. That was not bad. That's funny. All right. So getting into the what's annoying me. So Chris, what's annoying you? You got a couple things.
Well, just I know. Don't say this as a grumpy old man, but just why do we have to do the traditions as far as like the holidays and the meals? Like, oh, it's Easter, so let's go buy the ham. Like, why can't we do like a standing rib roast, rack of ribs, roast beef, something different? Like, it's got to be the slimy potatoes that no one eats. It's got to be the green beans that are always hard and cold and gross. And it's just like my least favorite meal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's like eating the same menu every year that's just predictable and boring and not very flavorful. I'm like, how about we just do like a giant smorgasbord? Everyone brings a random dish.
Yeah.
Just do something different. Spice it up.
That's kind of like what we did at Thanksgiving. We had everyone come over and we kind of do it like a potluck. So, I'll cook the 3 turkeys. Monica will do some desserts for everybody. And then we make a chart, be like, all right, what are you bringing? This way we know. Because, we always host every year. So, and then this year we had this past year we had some Asian food. We had some Cuban food. We just had like a big mix of different things. That's some of the traditional stuff too, but it was a nice big mix, and just whatever. But yeah, I get your point. But I guess then you'd have to do something you really don't want to do, and that's you have to host, and then you have to deal with people.
But then you can kick them out at a certain time. Like, whoa, look at that! Time to go.
So I think like if you say, all right, come to our house, we're going to do a rib roast, and then then you get what you want, right?
Yeah,
so
the menu's better.
That's menu's better. It's still the same people, but you have to be responsible for cleaning up and everything. So you got that going for you.
It's true. And then I was walking through Target getting the stuff for the Easter candy baskets or whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything too fancy this year. But I realized all Easter candy, other than the gross stuff, it's all the same stuff year round, just in different shapes.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's so dumb. It's such a scheme.
I mean, you have the Reese's Easter eggs, which to that point, I will say you get a little bit more peanut butter filling in those things than you do a regular Reese's cup, whatever. But then you got the Snickers eggs and the Milky Way eggs and like
same stuff, different shape.
Exactly.
And you throw the wrapper away anyway, so you don't even know what it was.
And you pay twice as much because it's in a special shape.
Exactly. And then you get into like the gross stuff that no one ever buys, but it always appears as like the Peeps. And it's not just Peeps anymore.
No, it's gross.
Pop-Tart flavored and this flavored and that flavored. I'm like, I still bought a pack. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Probably just put them in the cupboard, then next trip pull them out again. I'm like, hey, Peeps. Hey, put them back. But
I don't think it's real marshmallow, to be honest with you. I don't think you could take a Peep and make a s'more out of it.
Ooh, maybe you could.
Yeah. Take a egg-shaped Hershey's bar and get you a Peep and then some graham cracker and melt that stuff up and see what happens. I don't know. We might be onto something now.
Might be.
Shoot.
But yeah, just kind of like the whole, oh, it's Thanksgiving, must have a turkey. Oh, it's this, must have this. Like, why? Like, why is that a rule?
Well, it's not really a rule. I mean, Thanksgiving, it makes perfect sense because, you're supposed to do the turkey because that's what the Indians apparently brought
Allegedly.
to the, yeah, exactly. That as far as we know, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. But we always did. So our family tradition was we always did a lamb. So whether it was rack of lamb, whether it was lamb chops, something like that, we always had lamb on Easter. I don't really ever recall doing ham. I'm sure we did at some point in time, but it was always the lamb chops, and you had the mint jelly, and you put the mint jelly on there, and it's so good. But yeah, so we're not really doing much this year for Easter because it's kind of like we had that big family get together Friday night. So it's like, we did that, and everyone agreed, like, okay, so we're not doing anything Easter this year. Yeah, so that's all right,
Oh, one cool thing that happened this week too, which
Hmm.
I forgot. I talked all that smack about not going to the moon last week.
Oh yeah,
And the Artemis launched 2 days later, so I was like, "Oh, look, we finally made it."
there it is.
And it was cool. We went outside and saw it doing its little thing and saw it taking off.
So I don't know if you know or not, but is this thing actually making a moon landing, or is it just going around the moon
It's
and
just
coming
doing
back?
a slingshot around. It's dropping supplies off for the next one. So kind of like the Apollo did. Each moon mission, they drop things off.
Okay.
They drop things off, and then eventually, I think Artemis
28.
6 or 7, somewhere along those lines. Because then the other night, like at 2 a.m, I was still awake, and I saw another Artemis was going up unmanned, and it's bringing more stuff to the moon. So eventually, they're gonna all go. And
That's crazy.
I felt bad for them though, because there's 4 of them in this little cube, and then the first when they could finally get out of their seats and float around the cabin, if you will, and the toilet didn't work.
Yeah, I heard like the only lady astronaut on there was
And
the one
she's
who
like,
had to fix
"Got this."
Yeah. Don't worry, guys.
Like that's the worst thing. I mean, maybe the second worst thing that could break on the space shuttle. Where are we gonna go? Can't just open a window.
Yeah, right.
There's no 7-Elevens up there, so well, maybe there is. I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
But so that was kind of cool to see. Because I like that space stuff. I mean, I have my theories and whatnot about it, but it makes you feel, I guess, kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of the world when you
How
realize
big
we're just
everything
a
is?
dot and how massive. Like it's gonna take them 8 days of floating just to get there.
That's crazy.
And it's how many thousands of miles. And when we talk about exploring Mars and all this, I'm like, first of all, let's fix our own planet first. But secondly, like just the time it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And just, unless we ever figure out some sort of like light speed or some sort of like wormhole that travel in the galaxy, we're never going to get further than we can get because of just how vast it is. I don't think people just can rationalize how massive.
Maybe maybe NASA needs to talk to George Lucas. Be like, let's talk more about this light
Figure this
speed
out.
thing. Yeah, let's figure it out.
One of my guys I really like, Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Mm-hmm.
astrophysicist for dumb people like me, kind of had a good take on it. And I like how he just kind of like makes it all seem very, how insignificant we are in the, I'm never not going to be convinced we're not just an experiment in some alien's ant farm somewhere.
Oh, wouldn't that be a terrible discovery?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One day we're just going to hear some kid poking on the glass at us.
What is that? That's like the Truman Show.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Yeah, that would.
But that was kind of cool. I'm glad to see that. We watched the launch, went outside, saw it taking off. So that's pretty cool. So.
That is pretty cool. My annoyance is, you ever been on the phone with somebody?
I try not to be.
And I know, but like, times whether you're at work or whether you're in the car or something, you're just on the phone with somebody, and then it's just like silence, and you're sitting there for like 5-10 minutes, and there's no conversation going on whatsoever, and you're just like, what are we doing? What did you say everything you wanted to say? I think I said everything I wanted to say. Can we just hang up? But then there's like that awkward, like, I don't really want to say goodbye, but I need to say goodbye because I want to kind of sit and listen to my music. But then it's like, am I being rude if I say, okay, all right, I'll catch you later? And then it's like, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the Italian goodbye?
No.
So the Italian goodbye is like you say goodbye, but it takes you 30 minutes to say goodbye, right? You say goodbye, then the conversation
That's how I'm a
strikes
fan
up.
of the Irish goodbye. You just
Yeah, just, hey, I'm out of here. Hey, fuck you, I'm gone. That kind of thing. Oh, whoops, sorry. And then it's like, yeah, but the Italian goodbye is like, you say hugs. Oh, we gotta do this again. I'll see you later. Blah, blah, blah. And then you go to the next person, and it's the same thing over and over again. And then you go and hug the first person again. It's like, oh yeah, bye. Yeah, that's the Italian goodbye. So it's like I feel that way on the telephone sometimes. Right. It's like,
you hang up.
No, you hang up.
No, you
hang up. No, I love you. No, I love you. No, I love you. Yeah, that whole thing. He's just kind of sitting there like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go now. Oh, okay. Oh, can you grab such and such on your way home? Sure, I can do that. Or hey, did you see the game last night? Yeah, I was with you at the game last night. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go now. I'll see you.
Oh, my tunnel.
Yeah, there's no tunnels in Florida, daggone it. Yeah, that'd be funny though. Gotta go. I dropped reception. I don't know what happened. Must have hit a dead spot.
Dead spot.
Oh my gosh. All right, so some good stuff with the Lightning has come to be. Like you and I went to the Lightning game last Tuesday, I think it was.
Montreal.
We saw the Canadians come to town. Not the outcome we had hoped for.
No, really, no. I mean, too, because there are a lot of red jerseys in the.
There were a fair amount of Canadians.
And they got louder as the game went on because they won.
Terrible. Go, Habs,
But
go.
yeah, that Montreal team's good. They're young, they're fast, they're scary.
They got a good coach.
Yeah.
They do. Listen, Marty St. Louis,
Yeah.
he's a good coach. If he wasn't a good coach, he wouldn't have lasted this long. Think about it. He took a team that they went and lost the Stanley Cup in the bubble to who? The Lightning. But then like they got rid of the coach. They bring in St. Louis and he rebuilds. Really think about it.
I like Marty more. I don't like the way he left. I thought he kind of threw a little temper tantrum on his way out the door.
Well,
and I get it, but at the same time, it's like it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And I know there's a business involved,
Sure.
and there's a lot of things behind the scenes we probably don't know.
Yeah.
But the impression it gave, he's just like, I'm taking my little stick and going home. And and then he did nothing there, and then we beat him in those playoffs the next round, and I felt good. But he's grown on me. I like it when he is in town. I know he always, when they practice, he always stays and signs and is nice to the kids.
Yeah.
He's grown on me
he
more.
Gets it.
He gets it. And like I said, I'm not going to judge his whole thing on one thing that happened because we don't know this. I mean, I don't think Yzerman. I think he was a good GM, but at the same time, I think he did a lot of questionable calls. Thing. I think he was very just emotionless with a lot of his things too. So maybe it was just person, boss and employee didn't get along, and the employee's like, "Screw you, I can go play somewhere else." But he's grown on me. He's got some really good young talent. I see a lot of that young team and like Lightning teams that were really good, but then got squashed in the playoffs because they don't have the physicality, or just playoff hockey is almost different than regular season hockey. It's almost two different seasons, and I don't know if Montreal's ready for that yet, but I think this team's going to just get better and better as they move on.
Well, it's kind of one of those things like you gotta you gotta get into it to see what it's like and grow and all this stuff. I mean, take the Lightning for the 2015 run, right? They went all the way to the Cup final against the Blackhawks and lose, and the Blackhawks had all that experience and everything, and then but they just kept growing and Coop just kind of emphasizing where we need to be and kind of changing the story, not the story, but kind of changing the theme every year and changing what's the word I'm looking for? But just giving them the right message. That's what I'm looking for. The right message every year, right? It's not just the same message over and over and over again, getting stale. I think that's one of the accolades that Coop's going to hang his hat on.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled up Coop's kind of little resume with us just for the playoffs.
Okay.
I mean, this is our 9th straight year in the playoffs.
9 straight year clinched playoffs. Yeah.
I mean, he's only missed the playoffs twice as our coach, which was his very first year. Yeah. He was basically just playing cleanup from the Guy Boucher era. But then, his second year, I think we just overachieved because I think we were like a young and gun team.
Yeah.
And we all of a sudden find our way into the Cup final against the Blackhawks, and they were just like, "Hey, we know what we're doing," and they just capitalized on every little mistake we made.
I think that was their 3rd cup in 5 years or something like that for the Blackhawks.
Little mistakes. I remember that play where Ben Bishop came way out of net and got burned.
Oh yeah,
little things like that. And then we went to the conference finals the next year. Then we missed those playoffs, and then we haven't missed since then. I mean, we had that embarrassing first round exit where we got swept when we were the best team. Then we go to 3 cups in a row. But we have had 2 first-round exits the last 2 years.
True.
I think those were excused because we just been to 3 cups.
Yeah.
And we played an up-and-coming Panthers team who went to 3 straight cups after that.
Yeah.
Last year was kind of an embarrassment year, so I kind of like how we've refocused and re-engaged this year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if Cooper does another first-round exit, is it time that they get rid of him, or has he earned enough?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I kind of feel like, yeah, they might move on just to kind of give it a different look, give it a different taste and feel. But man, it's hard to deny his resume. It's hard to deny what his accomplishments are. I mean, he's won at every level he's coached at. I don't know. I would say this, that I feel like, his assistant coaching staff that he has, they've got this team to where they're more tenacious, they're more physical. They're getting into fights. They're sticking up for each other as teammates. They're going to war for each other. And this is kind of like where it was in 2020 before the bubble. They were starting to get physical and that kind of thing. So I could see them going all the way. I could see them taking the cup, and then you got, Corey Perry. So we're guaranteed at least the cup final.
Then we're guaranteed to lose as well. So.
No. This is going to be, it's kind of one of those things where at some point in time, everyone has to reverse the curse, right? I mean, the Red Sox finally won. The Cubbies finally won. So I think now it's time for Perry to get on the cup again. He hasn't been on it since 07 when he first won it with the Ducks his first year. So I think it could happen again.
We'll see.
We'll see. Could be 20 years later, bam, what was it? 26 years or no, 46 years for the men to win gold in the Olympics. It's just, I had that feeling. It's one of those things.
We'll see. I
Get
mean,
the monkey off
the
his
East
back.
is a tough sledge to get through because if it started today, we'd have Boston in the first round.
Yeah.
And I almost guess we'd have Montreal in the second, and then probably Carolina if they don't
crap the bed
again.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. The East is tough, where the West is kind of like, who knows what's going to come. There's 3 really good teams in the West, and the rest are pretty terrible. So
yeah, it's definitely hit or miss with the West. I'd like to see Anaheim go deep personally because we went out there and watched them play. Was it last year for spring break? So that's fun. We got to cheer on Killer. That was a fun game too because it was like a battle of the old Lightning players. You had Killer versus Stammer because the Predators were in town. So that was a good show. Yeah, I don't know. I think this year's playoffs is going to be nice too because you don't have the Panthers in there. There's some of the usual suspects that would normally be like the Leaves are out. So I mean, it's like it's nice. Get a little change of pace, and it's nice to have the Lightning still in there. But then you got a different array of teams kind of battling a little bit. Sabres have come back. They're this is the first time in 9 years, I think it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Or 14 year, I don't know, some long drought. Like they're finally going to make it back into the playoffs again. So good for you, Buffalo. Yeah, this is good stuff. And then we got Darren Radish, who set a franchise record with 21 goals for a defenseman in a single year. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, we talked about it before too. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season. I really feel that I think it'd be a big miss if the Lightning don't try to re-sign him.
I mean, I think they will. But I also feel like we're going to offer him a low ball number like we usually do. He's going to test the market and be like deuces. I don't know. We'll see how
I don't know. I think, do you give him an 8-year deal? I don't know.
What is he, 30?
He's 30. They'd put him at 38. Big number. Maybe like 8 years, 6 million average. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough because he just signed a bunch of other defensemen that are not even playing right now. So
yeah, I don't know how that. I'm not
rough.
a GM. I don't know how that.
Yeah, I mean the salary cap is going up, which helps. I think
that's true.
Make back a couple of our bad contracts because that's the other situation the Lightning are in. They were kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
True.
They were backloading a lot of contracts just to keep these guys longer. Some of those guys are making a lot of money because they kind of backloaded their contracts.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I know you got to do some gymnastics with the numbers and make them work where you got to make them work. So is he willing to take 2 years of okay money and then pay him more towards the end? I think being a GM is tough because you got to make your player happy, your fans happy, your team happy, your coach happy.
Well, the other thing too is that being that you're in Florida, you're in a income state tax free state. So I mean, you get a little bit more money that way, versus going to say Canada or out in the Midwest or up north somewhere. So who knows? We'll see how that all plays.
Sometimes you get that home team discount. Like, hey, I like it here. My family's already here. I'm established here. I got my home here.
Yeah.
Let's just make this work.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that tends to happen.
Well, that's what Stammer did on his second contract. So, yeah. We'll see how it plays out. I think it'd be good. All right. So, deep dive in here. So we've thought about this. We've talked about this a little bit. So who would you want to go to dinner with? Dead or alive, non-family member?
So for me, this is a no-brainer. I'd be Walt Disney.
Oh,
a huge Walt fan.
Yeah.
I know there's been some controversies about him in the past on certain things here and there. I think when you kind of reach that level of success and that level of notoriety, there's always going to be people that try to poke holes in it, even back then.
Of course.
And I kind of hate it now how we love to go back and cancel culture people from 200 years ago.
It's terrible.
100 years ago.
It's dumb.
It was a different time. It was a different era. You weren't even alive or know what was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
So some of that stuff I kind of dismiss. I'm not a Disney apologist either for what the company's become. I'm not a huge fan of some of the decisions they've made or some of the stands they've made. But I would love to pick his brain and just, first of all, so when Walt Disney died, his company was worth between about 100 and 150 million.
Still a lot of money.
Today, the company's anywhere between 150 to 200 billion.
It's nuts.
So I think after he got unfrozen, And he got past that initial shock of like, come again? How many billion?
Right.
I own cruise ships. I own my own TV network. Because him and ABC were always kind of like, that's where the Wonderful World of Disney came through.
Yeah.
He had his old TV show on there where that's where he like introduced the parks. It was almost like a Disney commercial back then. He was very innovative back then. Like before his movie started, like last year or whatever, he's like, hey, this is called the Florida Project. And what we're going to do is build a land for tomorrow. And went through all that. Like he was kind of sales pitching it by also putting his movie on. So him and ABC, he's like, I own that now? Cool. But I feel like he would walk the parks and be like, it's how much for a churro?
Right.
We're charging to get to the front of the line. This was built for families and it was built for these experiences. And now we're charging how much you get in?
Yeah.
And you're doing this inside? Like, no. Main Street, like I call the Emporium, the big gift shop, I call it just the Walmart.
Basically.
Because if you go to Disneyland, those used to be all individual stores.
Yep.
Walt's wife, Lily, owned her own antique store on Main Street.
Oh, wow.
You could actually go in and there was like separate retailers on Main Street, USA and Disneyland. That's why I'm a big Disneyland fan over Magic Kingdom, because that was Walt's part. His apartment's above the firehouse still, and every night his lamp comes on to pay him there. And I just love to see what he could do with today's technology when he saw like the Pixar movies, or he saw how his animation studio is just kind of taken over. My favorite Walt quote is, it all started with the mouse. And I kind of think sometimes Disney forgets that. And they kind of
get out of touch a little bit.
They get out of touch. They see dollar signs more than some of the things that Walt wanted the parks to be. Like, I think if you saw Epcot, he'd be like, did you not look at the model? Do we all need to go back on the people mover? It's still sitting there.
It's still sitting there. Yeah.
Let's look at it. These aren't the same.
They're still changing that place.
Yeah. And it's nothing what he created. It was supposed to be a city of the future, city of tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. A lot of the things he innovated and thought of, but couldn't do, they do now. Or he just saw so far in the future. I think some of the movies he made were Steamboat Willie, the first cartoon he ever did, is still one of my favorites because it kind of was just, I don't know, it's just iconic Disney. And I miss that spirit because he was fully invested in it, right? It was his creation. That was his thing.
Yeah.
And now it's changed hands between 6 different CEOs. And I think sometimes they lose the vision. I know it's silly, but I used to like the old fireworks show because it would have Walt in it, and it kind of paid tribute to the history of the parks. And now it's hard to even find Mickey in the park, and this whole thing was built because of him.
Yeah.
So I just think they lose touch with the mouse sometimes.
Yeah, I can understand that. To go on that, I think Walt was definitely a visionary. You look at the Carousel of Progress, and in the last segment of the Carousel of Progress, where they're having the futuristic kind of family dinner or whatever or whatnot, and they're sitting there and they're talking to the oven, saying, oven, set temperature to whatever. And then, the kid's sitting there talking about grandma's score while she's playing, and the oven number keeps going up and up and up. And this is well before there was any, Amazon, Alexa or Google's hey Google kind of thing and all that stuff, or Siri. Walt already knew about it, and he created that whole thing for the World's Fair, way back in the 50s, 60s. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And it's amazing how he already came up with this thing. And they're already using robots at that point too, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. All those animatronics that are still in use today.
Yeah.
For Mr. Lincoln.
And
I really want to go out to Disneyland again, because they just built a Walt animatronic that walks and talks to you.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that would be my conversation with just the guy that kind of changed, the pioneer of the early 20th century to see the things of the 21st century now. Like I said, after he got out of the shock of the zeros and the numbers and the people, and I own all these companies.
Right.
What? So yeah, that's my guy.
That's cool. That's awesome. So for me, my guy's still alive, but when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a rock star. That was my thing. I want to play guitar, sing, have the long hair, do the whole thing. And so for me, it's John Bon Jovi. That's who I'd like to go have dinner with and just kind of pick his brain and see what it was like to go through the process of writing music and creating songs and the inspiration and everything like that. Because for me, he was more of that clean cut rock star, right? He wasn't, the drug user and that kind of thing. Sure, he probably drank like the rest of them did, but you never heard about him getting in trouble with the law. Who knows if he ever got arrested? I don't know. But when I was a kid, and my dad grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey, and his parents were still in the same house from when he was younger. And we would go there for Christmas Eve. Like that was we'd always go to New Jersey for Christmas and Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve was at my dad's parents' house. And we all got together. It was my dad's cousins, my cousins, his sisters. You know, there was a lot of people there. You know, aunts and uncles that, you know, half of them are gone by now, but you know, second cousins, third cousin, we'd all got together there, and my grandmother would always make lasagna. But at any rate, so Christmas Eve, the kids always got together and we put on like this concert. It was a lip singing concert, and all of us would do something different. My brother did Jerry Lee Lewis one time. My oldest brother Todd did Weird Al's One More Minute, and did this whole production. And then my thing, I think it was like 1986. You know, we talked about it before, the Slippery When Wet album had come out. I saw the video. I fell in love with Bon Jovi. I'm like, this is my band. This is the group I'm going to listen to the rest of my life. And I was like, I want to be Bon Jovi. So my brother used to have like the strobe light, and he had like one of the police siren lights. It was red, and he, you know, we turn the lights off, we turn the strobe light on, and I try to recreate that Living on a Prayer video as best as I could, right? And I've got a microphone stand, I've got like a little plastic guitar and everything, and I'm just sitting there jamming. I'm holding the microphone like he does in the video, and like pointing to the crowd and everything, and getting them all into it. And then, you know, it was the inception of Bon Jovi. My dad was the MC of the show, so he called me Bon Joey. So that was a big to do with the family and whatnot, and sometimes they'll still call me Bon Joey here and there, awesome. That kind of thing. So, but yeah, you know, I would love to sit down with him and just kind of talk to him about how life was in the 80s, and traveling around the world and seeing all these different cultures and playing for these people, and just, you know, want to know what the ins and outs of the music industry is through his eyes, because you kind of hear about the music industry and how crappy it can be. And I just don't feel like he had that kind of experience. I think like he kind of worked his butt off, and you know, I think he worked in a music studio at one point in time, and he saw some great recordings of people, and you know, just how that whole thing came about. I think that would be a really cool conversation to have, you know, and talk about, you know, his voice change, and how he kind of got through that, you know, because, you know, in the 80s and 90s, he was all singing those high pitched, you know, ballad type stuff. And now he's all like, can't get there. Can't even touch those notes
Right.
anymore, you know? So I think that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, back in those days too, I mean, those guys were young. They were just screaming every night.
Yeah.
They weren't like thinking about their vocal cord. They probably thought it was like, we're going to do this for a few years, meet a lot of chicks, party all the time.
Yeah.
I don't care what my voice sounds
just
like
live,
when I'm 40.
Yeah, exactly right.
So they just lived that rock star life and screamed their lungs out every night. I'm sure they didn't do vocal rest or vocal training, or, you know, because, you know, like the Celine Dion's and all those of the world, that's like their instrument.
Right.
So they take extra good care of it. Where these guys are like, you can tell 20, hey, your voice in 20 years isn't going to, think I care about my voice in 20 years. So they weren't paying any attention to that. They were just screaming, having a good time and partying. So,
well, and, you know, you think about it too, you know, back in those days, it's all like they play one city, they travel to the next city the next day, and then they play the city again. So it's like every other day they're putting on a concert, right? I remember there was a story about James Hetfield, and he blew out his vocal cords on the Black album. And then he had to go through vocal training and all that stuff. So that's why, like, there was that big transition between, I think it was And Justice for All into the Black Album, and then Load, Reload, and thereafter, like, it was a complete rechange because he had to train his voice. He had to, you know, teach himself or get taught how to not, you know, blow your voice out again.
I always like Bon Jovi too, because he was one of those, because Poison was my band.
Oh,
Bret
yeah.
Michaels was my guy.
Yeah.
But Bon Jovi was good too, because you could get past the parent censorship.
Yes.
Because it was always good, clean, fun lyrics. It wasn't like, the messages were always good. It wasn't like ridiculous music. It was like good music, but it wasn't like obnoxious just to be obnoxious, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was like something you can play while you wouldn't get in trouble. You don't have to like sneak it or.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, you know, like I said, I was 5, 6 years old, and I told my mom, you know, get me the tape, and she did, and there was no issues. Plus, this is well before they ever had the parental advisories on anything. But even listening to it, I mean, he doesn't say any curse words in any of his music, really. So, you know, my parents had no problem getting me that music, so which is nice.
Yeah, Bon Jovi I like Bon Jovi. I mean, and he still reinvents himself, and he still does his thing, and now his kid's married to a even famous or more famous person than they ever were, so it's crazy.
True, yeah.
So it's just bananas.
It's kind of funny how that works out. Yeah, exactly right.
It's weird how the rich and famous meet the rich and famous, but
well,
Bon Jovi's not married to anyone famous, is he?
No, he's married to his high school sweetheart.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah,
you know, I think her name is Dorothy or Dorothea or something like that. Yeah, and they eloped. and they did it, and I remember the story because I mean, anyway, but it was during the New Jersey tour, right? And they just kind of went off, got married, came back, and then all of a sudden it's all like on the news, like Bon Jovi gets married, or John Bon Jovi gets married, and the guys in the band are all like, "Did you really?" Like, yeah, we did that. It's like, oh, okay,
Cool.
So they didn't make a big to do about it. They didn't have like a big ceremonial wedding, or nobody knew. It's just all of a sudden it's like, okay, they're married. So I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, Bon Jovi. Maybe he'll invite us up to the Hamptons once we're famous and come on the pod.
Hey, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. I wouldn't be upset by that.
No, not at
I think
all.
that'd be cool. Or if he came here, either way.
Either way.
I don't think he'd come to your house, but JBJ, whenever you're ready, buddy, we're ready. So, all right. So, speaking of music now, so our top 5, this is a good top 5, I think. So, this is your top 5 guilty pleasure songs. It's the kind of song that, you're sitting in your car and you're just driving along and you're like, I got to hear this song. Or you're going to sit there and be like, it's kind of one of those songs where you're going to belt it out and you don't want anybody in the car to know you're going to belt it out. Just, just enjoy it, or it's one of those stupid, crazy songs that you're just like, I like it, and I'm too embarrassed to tell anybody that I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all my music I listen to anyway. My music's terrible, and I know it. I mean, most of the stuff I listen to is just god awful.
Yeah.
And I know it, but I like it.
That's
so it is what it is. So it's like my top 5 list was hard because I'm like, I got to think of the ridiculous of the ridiculous. Because if I went through and listed my Broadway show tunes or my Disney playlist or my Kesha or my T Swizzle, people are like, that's what you always listen to. So that's like a guilty pleasure. That's just you. Mm-hmm. So I try to think of the more off the beaten path stuff that's like layers down that'll come up with my therapist one day. Like, listen to this.
You said therapist. That's funny. I think this is your therapy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So these are just songs that are just dumb, but they give me pleasure because it either takes me back to a different time period or it's just one of those things where I'm just like, it's just a silly whatever song and it makes me happy. So
yeah, that's good.
It doesn't get any sillier than the Spice Girls. Like To Become One or Wannabe or one of those crazy numbers they did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought I thought they were cool chicks. A couple of them had little careers afterwards. One of them married some football player allegedly.
Yeah, maybe.
Posh.
Was it scary?
No, Posh. She married.
Oh, football, not football, but football.
Football.
Yeah, soccer.
So she's big and rich and famous and doesn't care about this anymore, obviously. But
True.
a couple of them, I think it's Baby, Emma. She has a podcast now, and I think her and one of the other Spice Girls kind of still hang out and do some stuff. But I think they tried like a big reunion tour a while back, and it did pretty well, like in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that terrible movie that they made.
Never saw it. You probably did.
I did. But I like the Spice Girls. You know what? They get a lot of hate, but hey, I mean, they hit while the iron was hot. They was, boy bands were at their height.
That's it. And they had to have a girl-like counterpart,
right?
So I think it worked out very well. Because I mean, what other girl groups can you think of that were like decent in that? I guess Destiny's Child, maybe when they first started, maybe.
Yeah, they were around at the same time. Yeah. But yeah. Spice Girls.
Spice Girls.
Spice up your life.
Spice up your life. If you want to be my lover. Something like that. Anyway, all right. So mine goes back to, we're talking like the 80s. And it's technically Wham, but it's George Michael's Careless Whisper. That whole, when that saxophone hits, you're just like, oh yeah. It just sets you in that mood. And, it's one of those songs where you just kind of, you feel it. You just kind of bob your head to it a little bit. And you're just like, yeah, that's a good one. Even though the song it was so mature for a young George Michael of what it was. And you're talking about love and, trusting somebody and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, as a kid, I didn't get it. It was just the saxophone, but now you get a little older, you listen to the words, you're like, oh, okay. All right. But yeah. That's one of those songs where I can just, put on in the car and just sing along to it as best I can. And like, yeah, I like it. Jamming. That's good. That's good.
So it's more like a power ballad type.
Almost, but
love band.
Yeah, it falls in those categories. But I'm a sucker for those. Like,
sounds like it was on your breakup mixtape.
Never had one of those, but if I did, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't go with any of those types of songs, but I do love them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Air Supply.
Oh yeah. I'm all out of love.
Yeah.
I'm so lost without.
There's one Air Supply song that comes on randomly on my Spotify list sometimes, and the boys will be in the back like, "Oh, this dumb song." And there's a few little like those that same time frame. Those songs are like popular, if you will. Like,
yeah.
I think was it Christopher Cross had a few. And,
oh yeah, sailing takes me away. Yeah, that
there's
one.
like those types of just like.
Yeah, just that. Yes, I know. I can't even.
They don't really make songs like that anymore.
No.
It's like a special like.
They're too afraid to.
Yeah, like Michael Bolton, those types of like.
Michael, that might be stretching it, but yeah, I mean, he was even like that. Or Kenny G, no music, just or no words, just yeah. Sade.
But I do like those type of.
Yeah,
they're like it's almost like grocery store music now.
You're right. It is. If you're in Publix, you'll if you pay attention, you're like, oh wait, I know this song. I haven't heard this one in a while.
Like, wow, this is what I call shopping.
Yeah.
You know what you won't hear in the shopping complex is tattoo.
No.
All the things she said, all the things.
Borderline one-hit wonder, right?
Yeah, if you can even call that song a one hit. I watched a lot of stupid TRL back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And
Total Request Live.
They were really pushing tattoo hard. Like it was just those two Russian girls that were all like exotic and different. But I guess it was a little bit different out of them. They kind of had like a rock techno edge. Because I embarrassed to say this, but why not? We're already in the topic. I love like the EDM, techno type, just music. And they were kind of like sort of different. I mean, they were still terrible, don't get me wrong, but their whole Russian rock vibe, maybe it was like pop for Russian culture, and they tried to like really push them hard in the US. They still tour and still hang out, but it's still mainly the one or two songs that they had that were big, and the rest just went
down. Yeah. I'm
sure 9 out of 10 people don't know who Tattoo is.
You're probably right about that. Like I've heard of them, but I couldn't tell you if I actually like listened to any of their music. Like I'm familiar with the band. That's about it. That's about it. So, all right. So this one, you probably have no idea because I know you're not a big country music fan. But the artist his name is Joe Diffie. He was big in the 90s. The song is From Here On Out. Another one of those country love ballad kind of songs, but that's another one that I'll just put on in the car, crank it up, and just belt it top of my lungs, sing along with it as best I can. But yeah, it's just, I don't know what's up with these sad songs, emotional, like heartfelt kind of things. I love singing them. For whatever reason, and I enjoy listening to them. And I'll just do it. Like Counting Crows, their first album, I think it's August and Everything After or something like that. That I can listen from start to finish and sing every song, and it's just all melancholy. I love melancholy blues. It's terrible.
A fun fact?
I do know lots of them, but not.
We went to a Counting Crows concert.
Did you?
We didn't go for them. We went for the openers. We're like, oh, we'll stick around for Counting Crows.
Mm-hmm.
We left about 3 songs in. It was so terrible.
They're not entertaining.
It was so boring.
Yeah.
And then I'm a guy that I don't like surprises. So I always pull up the set list.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize only like 1 out of every 3 shows, they do Mr. Jones.
Oh, really?
They don't. So, and they just did it the night before.
Oh.
And then I'm like, they're not going to do that. And then that one dumb song, which is all of them, Round Here.
Yeah.
He made it into like a 12-minute song.
It's terrible.
And I was falling asleep. And then the other big hit from the Shrek movies.
Yeah, I know. I don't know the name of the song. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the playlist. I'm like, and then listen, I hate nothing more than being told what to do at a concert. Wave your hands. No. Stand up. No. Turn your flashlights on. No, I paid you to be here. You don't tell me what to do, asshole. Sing the song. And he just kept giving us 10-minute rants about his life in between each song.
Oh, that's terrible.
Dude, I don't care about your life. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I paid to hear Mr. Jones, and I'm not going to even get to hear that.
Yeah, it's too bad.
I think we went to see Soul Asylum, a 90s one-hit wonder band, and someone before them. But anyway, like, after like 6 songs, I'm like, yeah, I've had enough of this. That's
still good.
It was terrible.
You know who's good though is and I've seen him like both as Hootie and I've seen him both as his solo career as Darius Rucker. He's good. Like
I have seen him.
Hootie and the Blowfish, they put on kind of a chill set, but they're just they're fun. They're just, it's entertaining. And then when he went solo, I saw him 3 times solo. I saw him once at the Trop. He played after a Rays game. You remember Rays used to do those Saturday concert series? Played once there. And I tell you what, they played Purple Rain. And I was like, dude, they gave Prince a run for their money. That Purple Rain thing. That was awesome. They did a really good job.
When the Hard Rock had one of its grand openings, had a lot of connections at the Hard Rock back in the day. And it was for like a VIP party in the ballroom. And it was Hootie and the Blowfish. And there was only maybe 300 to 400 people in the room because it was a small ballroom.
Yeah.
He gets through his set and he goes, "Hey, I was booked for 2 hours, guys. And we got through that kind of quick. What do you guys want to hear?" And he was literally taking requests from the audience. And he goes, "Yeah, let's do that." And that was the best part of the show.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I mean, his hits were cool.
Yeah.
But when he was just jamming, taking requests, it was like your own Hootie and the Blowfish jukebox. It was, and then he's like, "Hey, my time's up, but we have nowhere to be and our room's upstairs. You guys care if we do some more shit?" And he just played for like another 30 minutes and it was awesome.
Yeah, I give Darius Rucker a lot of credit because he's very in tune with his fans and he's always been that way, I think. But yeah, they're one of the few that still do that still care, that actually appreciate the fans. He's probably the type that would sit outside after the show and sign autographs until the last person got theirs. He just seems like to be that kind of person.
Yeah, they seem awesome. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Speaking of terrible music, not good music.
The opposite of Hootie.
So I like this artist before she became what she is today. I liked her when she was still Hannah Montana into Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
When it was like Party in the USA, Seven Things, that cheesy, poppy, stupid song music.
Yeah, so she was just transitioning.
She was just, I don't want to be a rock. All that dumb stuff. Love it. But now who she's become, not a big fan. Like, she's just so dramatic and she speaks like a man and has that raspy voice, which I know some people love. It's whatever. But to her defense, too, I know that Disney kind of like crushed her.
Yeah.
Because they had that girl when she was at the peak of her popularity. I remember she was in Orlando and she did like 3 nights in a row here.
Oh.
And then she was in Miami 3 nights in a row.
Oh my.
Like when Taylor does those big shows.
Yeah.
Like she does them on the weekends and she's well taken care of.
Yes.
And has a team.
Yeah.
Miley was literally like, "Hey, you're going to do these 3 shows. Then in the morning, you're going to do this autograph. And then you're going to go to this radio station. Oh, we still want to shoot your TV show. Oh, let's do a world tour. So now we're going to China, Japan, Australia, London. And in between those, we want to meet those fans." They ran that girl into the ground.
Jeez.
Didn't give her any vocal rest, vocal training. Didn't do anything to support her. They were just like, "Hey, let's just milk this cash cow for all she's worth." And then when it dried up, it was like, "All right, we're done with you."
Yeah.
So to her credit, I know she had a rough life. I'll have to save a pod for my brief stint as hanging out with a up and coming pop singer I did for about a year of my life. And just that little bit of travel and things we did were crazy. And we were 0.5% successful compared to what that was at the time.
Unbelievable.
So, but that old Miley stuff was just fun, silly, just, you can still sing it today, pop, stupid music. I like it.
It's a brutal industry. It really is, and you would think that because of who her dad is, Billy Ray Cyrus may have like tried to protect her a little bit, or maybe, like you said, it's like, hey, money talks and BS walks. And they said, well, Billy, we'll give you this much. And he's like, all right, do what you want.
That achy breaky heart money's a little run dry. My ranch could use some new cattle.
Use new boots.
Sing, girl. I don't know if that's how Billy Ray talks, but I'm just assuming.
I have no idea. You're probably not even close. No idea.
But yeah, I gave Miley honorable mention there.
That's good. So my number 3 is, I know you know this band, is Matchbox 20. And the song is called Hang. Again, it's one of those kind of slow, love songs kind of things, or breakup songs. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's just, it's one of those songs I could just sit there and sing for no apparent reason. I'm not singing it to anybody. I just like to sing along with it. It's got a good groove, good beat to it and whatnot. And I had it on in the kitchen the other day in front of Monica, and I'm just singing a song. I'm just having a good time with it.
They were big back in the night. I don't think they don't do as much anymore.
So Rob Thomas kind of went on his own for a little while there. He did a great song with Santana. The song Smooth, that was a lot of fun. But I think they kind of came back together. My sister's a huge Matchbox 20 fan, and I could call her right now and be like, "Hey, are they doing anything?" And she could probably tell me. But yeah, they kind of separated for a little while there, and then they got back together.
I actually
So
saw him at a private show too.
did
Oddly
you?
enough, I used to work for Best Buy,
Mm-hmm.
and we won this thing called Achievers. Anyway, um, one of the nights we got to go, all the winners got to go to a Rob Thomas concert.
Oh, nice.
So we were at the Hard Rock in Orlando, and he went out for like an hour and told stories and sang some jams. And then at the end, it was just him and his guitar, kind of just singing some of his acoustic set.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty cool. He seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah,
But they were big back then. Like,
they were
and
huge in
then
the
like
early
they popped
2000s,
up, and
late
then a bunch
90s.
of little bands like them. It's always the case, right?
Yeah, you got that little it's like a burst of like these type of bands that come out and that they're all roughly about the same kind of sound, if you will. I don't even know what other bands there were exactly, but you could probably name one. But oh yeah, that one, like Third Eye Blind, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Those that kind of sound. But yeah, that was again, it was just that whole album was good. That first album that they had, that whole album was good. I could listen to it start to finish. It had a lot of good hits off. I think maybe 5 hits off that
Yeah.
one album alone. That was pretty good.
They were good.
It was good.
I know your list isn't more of embarrassing music like mine is, because we're about to go off the deep end here into the realm of who the hell is that?
Okay.
The Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah. I remember these guys.
Well, there was this kid who, yeah. It was
got into an accident and couldn't come to school. Yeah, I remember that song very well.
Their only one hit.
Yeah, it
I
was.
don't even know if it was a hit.
No, it was a hit. Like I remember. Oh my gosh, dude, this is like maybe mid 90s.
Yeah, right around there.
I think it honestly is because I remember my brother first played it for me, and I was like, "What is this?" And he's singing along to it, and he's like, "Mm-hmm." I'm like, what the hell? So funny. But then like I kind of forgot about it, and I rediscovered it again in the early 2000s when I was at the golf academy. My buddy Derek and I were driving around. That was one of the songs, and he and I would like go back and forth with it, just listening to it. Yeah, it's a stupid good song.
Yeah, I like it. The guy that sang that song, his nephews went and had a bigger hit with it though. They called it Bop.
No,
I just made that
up. Like they're not related. That's funny though. But no, and then because we watch a lot of stupid stuff here and there, and I caught some interview with the lead singer of the Crash Test Dummies, and he was talking about the song, and he goes, "I don't even think I could sing it now. I don't even know the words." And I'm like, "There's not a lot of words to it,
Yeah.
but as long
It's
as
the only song you ever sang, bud."
Yeah, right.
Elvis, I think, at his peak knew like 2,000 songs in his head. You can't remember one?
It's so bad. Well, Elvis was a whole nother ball of wax, but that guy was good. No, that's a good one. I remember that one. That was fun. My number 2, you'll appreciate this one. But it's Don't Speak by No Doubt. So that's another one.
Gwen.
Yeah. Good old Gwen. That's another one that I could just, and I don't care who's around, but I can sing along to it. And I'll do funny things with my voice while I'm singing it. And I'll make myself sound like really don't speak, kind of stupid, whatever. But yeah, it's such a good song. It's a sad song, but it's such a good song. It's really on the verge of the band breaking up kind of thing.
All right.
Which they eventually did anyway, kind of, because Gwen said, "All right, I'm gonna go do my own thing. I'm gonna be more pop and not so much ska." But it was No Doubt. It was the old school kind of ska sound. They were the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones that made it big and kind of put ska music on the map, if you will. I think them and the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones were the big ska acts back in the day. But yeah, she just kind of went on a tear on her own. But that whole album was good.
Good, yeah. I like Gwen back when she was No Doubt Gwen, and she still represented the 714, which was my area code in California, because she was an Anaheim girl.
Mm-hmm.
She had that Orange County vibe going on, and she was super cute back in the day. I still remember that video, and it's like, oh, that was adorable. Her songs were great. And then she wanted to go, like you said, go do her own thing where she's still singing the same shit, but with a different band. Thought never made sense to me. I know it was a little more poppy, but at the end of the day, like when you hear her songs, you're like, was this a No Doubt song or a Gwen song? You're like, I don't know.
Well, I will say though, more of her single stuff, you didn't hear any of the trumpets, you didn't hear any of the horns,
right?
So that kind of got away from that. So more dance, kind of hip hop almost.
I think she yodeled.
Oh, she might have. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
She had
remember.
that one song where she yodeled.
Maybe.
Kind of cool. I think her and Leanne Rimes are the only two that ever yodeled in the song, which I like. You don't hear a lot of yodeling anymore.
That's true. You don't. But
Blames me to my number one song. No, I'm just kidding.
you don't listen to a lot of country music either, so
no,
not like these artists today do any yodeling as it is. But if you listen to like the old Dolly Parton or Garth Brooks, those kind of things, you might get a little yodeling here and there.
It gets too twangy and too tingy, and it's like, we get it. You lost your truck, your girl, and you just need a bottle of beer to soothe the night. Like, we get it.
Sometimes whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
it's terrible. I do like me some Brooks and Dunn, Neon Moon.
That is a good one. That's another one I'll sing to. I don't care who's around either. But I'll sing that one. I'll belt that one out. Don't catch me on karaoke night. I got like a whole list of specific karaoke songs.
I can't do karaoke. I just can't sing. And then the songs I would sing, like, why is that grown ass man singing this stupid song?
Why is this grown ass man singing Miley Cyrus? You're like, buddy, come on.
Let's go. You're scaring the kids.
Yeah, right.
We go.
Yeah, we gotta go.
But my number one, again, I went with more stupid songs that are just dumb, more so than Joe's mixtape of sad songs.
I'm terribly sorry. Did you do any? Is this Weird Al? You got any Weird Al?
I thought about Weird Al.
Yeah,
but I kind of like him too. I think the guy's a genius.
That's fair. I mean, his ability to parody almost anything is awesome. Very talented.
So this band is known for a big one-hit 80s wonder hit, but what they're not for is the song I like. Remember Men Without Hats?
I do remember Men Without Hats.
They were big because they did the safety
dance. This is not the safety dance.
No, it's Pop Goes the World.
Pop Goes the World. And I've probably heard this because of my oldest brother. He was more the child of the 80s than I was, even though I was born 1980. But all the songs and all the music I have is because of him, more or less.
I mean, just think of a Casio keyboard, just beep, 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 beep. I mean, it's so 80s sounding.
Yeah.
I watched the video just for fun. And I'm like, God, this is terrible.
It's so bad.
It's so dumb. Like, it looks like it was shot with like a camcorder in their house. Probably was.
If you really go back and you dive into a lot of the old 80s, even early 90s, like music videos, they're terrible. They're like, I think Michael Jackson was probably the only one who actually put production into his videos. I mean, you look at Thriller, you look at Smooth Criminal, those things were like
top notch,
ahead of their time. They really were.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's my top 5. Like I said, I could go with worse songs, but I think these are pretty terrible. But I like them all. I could just go to my Spotify guilty pleasure list and listen to some Hillary Duff or some S Club 7 or some All Saints.
S Club 7. Wow.
Some
All Saints?
Yeah.
Do you remember the band All for One?
I do.
Yeah, that was my very first concert ever. It was a free concert because at the time it was my freshman year of high school and we lived on the Air Force Base, Lang Air Force Base in Virginia. And I was part of like this kids group, whatever. And they bussed us from Langley Air Force Base over to Little Creek Naval Station, which was probably about a 30, 45 minute drive, right? And it was a free concert. And the only one at this concert was military kids. So it was just a bunch of kids and All for One. I can love you like that. I'm like, wasn't that a John Michael Montgomery song? But yeah, and I'm just there and the little girl I was dating at the time, we were there together and whatnot. And it was just like, okay. I don't remember that show whatsoever. I just remember I was there. I saw them on the stage. That's all I remember of it. And a bus ride. That was it. That's all I remember of that whole thing. But I know they were my very first concert. But yeah. And then you remember Lifehouse? You heard of the band Lifehouse?
No.
Anyway, so that's again another one of those bands that came out when like Matchbox 20 came out. That same kind of sound and feel and whatnot. But yeah, I got a buddy of mine who's probably seen Lifehouse in concert like 6 times. And I'm like, why? He got like one hit. Why? I don't know. He just did. I mean, all right, cool. Whatever. All right, so my number one, and it's because I'm a sucker for Broadway, but my all-time favorite Broadway show was Phantom of the Opera. So the music of the night. It's one of those where I know that I can't hit those notes or anything like that, but I damn sure try. So I'm in the car singing it, belting as loud as I can. And I feel sorry for whoever's around me because I drive a convertible and I know the sound is leaking out. And I'm like, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's my all-time favorite musical. And I've seen a lot of musicals. I've probably seen Phantom of the Opera at least a dozen times. Never on Broadway. Always, one of the travel ones. I've seen a couple times in Virginia and here at the Straz. I love it.
Yeah, Phantom's still my number one. Les Mis is 2, real close to
Mhm.
1. I've seen Les Mis more now just because it's been more accessible.
Yeah.
Wicked probably 3, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm going to see 6 in May when they're coming, which is like the really unknown one, but it had a
Yeah.
lot of like
Never
little
heard of it.
cheesy songs in there.
Hmm.
It's about the 6 wives of Henry VIII.
Oh.
Turned it into like a rock band type deal. But like Book of Mormon and all that stuff. Book of Mormon is really good too.
Yeah.
It's the one done by the South Park guys.
Okay.
And those songs are super clever, super just like ingenious, like you would expect from those
Yeah.
guys, and just hilarious. But Phantom for me, love Phantom.
Yeah,
Like
Phantom's great.
I wish I could have seen Michael Crawford as Phantom, because
Mhm.
to me he's the only Phantom there really is.
His voice was unreal.
Yeah, and then when he's paired with Sarah, I just forgot her name. The original Christine.
Yeah.
Just slipped my
It'll
brain.
come back to you.
But yeah, because I always tell my wife at my funeral there's a song from Phantom that I want sung at my funeral. So
Think of me?
yeah, no, when Christine's singing about her dad dying, like it just
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Masquerade is one of my favorite songs in there.
Absolutely.
Just because it has like that little bit of pick me up after the
Masquerade!
intermission. And just has the. And what's really cool, because I think Angela Lloyd Webber is my favorite of all his
He's put together
musicals.
some good ones, yeah.
And I just love how all his music in the show intertwines within there. So you can hear bits of Masquerade
Mhm.
throughout. You could hear bits of the overture without, but it just changes
Yes.
key or
Yeah.
changes tempo. Kind of like John Williams does with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You'll always kind of sometimes just hear the same
Something in the background there.
something that
Yeah.
kind of reminds you of what you're watching without being in your face.
Mhm.
Like you don't need to hear that big overture every time, but you'll just hear it in a different key with a
Yes.
soft piano, and you're just like, it has a nice little tone. Because like, so my favorite part of Phantom, one of them, is at the very end when the monkey's playing the cymbals.
Yes.
You can kind of hear the Masquerade theme, just like real slow piano, and it's like kind of reminds you. So it's like, ah, that's
Yep.
good.
Absolutely. Or so I don't know. When's the last time you seen Phantom? It's been a
Probably
while.
I think I missed it the last time it was in Tampa, because I think it did a short run, which it doesn't usually do, because I think it's like 10 to 12 semis it takes just to get all the production.
Oh, I
It's
wouldn't
such a
doubt it.
huge setup.
Yeah.
So and I'm like, that's a really short run for Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just had a million things going on at the time, and so I missed it. So it's probably been a good 10 years since I've seen it.
So I took Monica to see it because it's my favorite show. So I took Monica to see it. I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago. Maybe it was definitely pre-COVID. So I guess like 6-7 years maybe. So the one thing that annoyed me, and because one of my favorite parts, aside from the chandelier coming down, but one of my favorite parts of the whole production is when you start Act 2 and you're at the masquerade, and they have the big staircase, right? And then the Phantom like is at the bottom of the staircase, then poof goes to the top of the staircase. They changed that whole scene.
That's like,
Staircase is gone. Like, what are we doing? It's like they put like these mirrors and shit around. I'm like, what is this? This is not the masquerade. I was so upset by it. And like, she's sitting next to me. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'll tell you after the show. I was so like physically upset that they didn't do it
like
the right
little
way.
things that like,
yeah.
Because I love the ending where he's sitting in the chair and then they pull off the cape and he's not in the chair.
Yeah.
I'd be like, if they got rid of that.
Or I don't remember if they did it or not, but you remember it's during one of the show. I think it's during when he makes her sound like a toad, right? And
usually he's up on the top.
Yeah, and then the thing like starts floating around. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if they had that going at that one or not. To be honest with you, I just thought about it. But yeah, that whole production is just awesome. Like I want to see it on Broadway. I really do.
I made the mistake once. It was in Tampa, and I think I'd already went once or twice that run, and I went to like a random show, and so I'm just gonna buy one ticket and go. So I think I went to like a matinee, and I got front row, and it was the worst because you're so close. And you couldn't see like the like the candles appear.
Yeah.
Like you miss all of that.
Oh my god.
So it's like you're almost too close to the action. It's like you almost need to be back a little bit further to get the full value of all the production that's happening.
If you could be on the floor and kind of like in the middle to the back, not too far back though, but kind of middle to the back, I think that is your best seat in the house for that.
For sure.
Yeah. Unless you can get one of the side angles there, but yeah, I think, the seat middle back, gold.
Yeah. Good list. I approve of 2 out of the 5 for sure.
2 out of the 5?
I mean, I like them all, but the country one, no clue.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's okay. It's okay. All right, so got a couple good dad jokes for you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to tell you a joke about the jump rope, but I'll just skip it.
So stupid. I love it.
Was buying just a gallon of milk the other day.
Yeah.
And the cashier's like, "You want this in a bag?" I'm like, "No, the jug's fine."
Oh my goodness. So of all my body parts, my fingers are the most reliable. I can always count on them. Do you know what kind of pants goats wear?
No.
Billie jeans.
Somebody's at the door.
They're not my lover. Oh my goodness.
So terrible.
All right. So what I'm going to suggest, people, check us out on Instagram. Put your top 5 of your guilty pleasure songs, or even in the comments here on Spotify. And then, yeah, tell us what annoys you. And then we'll respond back to that either in the next pod, or we'll respond back in the comments there. So let us know what's going on with that. So otherwise, good show, great week. See you again next week. Yeah.
Sounds good. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week.